Range script loaded, you can now press Escape, select Choose Slot, and pick your aircraft. You have chosen to start the mission in the air. Please increase the throttle lever and use trim to level the aircraft and navigate towards waypoint B4. Maintain 0.7 to 0.8 Mach, and an altitude under 500 meters AGL. Press spacebar once you have trimmed the aircraft. For rocket attacks, the Viggen can mount up to 4 ARAC M70B rocket launcher pods, manufactured by Bofors, each containing 6 135mm rockets. They can be used against most types of ground units, ranging from soft targets to armored units or installations. The pods can be loaded with either high explosive or armor-piercing rockets. The latter have a smaller area of effect, but are more effective against armor. The Viggen's computer can employ the rockets in one of 3 modes. The pre-planned attack mode, the quick mode, which can be used against targets of opportunity, and the long-range mode, where the rockets can be fired from over twice as far. The first 2 modes, attack or quick, are very similar and have the same maximum range of 2 to 3 kilometers, but the former needs to have a target waypoint predefined for the target. It is more precise than the quick mode because it uses radar ranging, while the other employs barometric triangulation, which is less accurate. The long-range mode will inherently be less accurate than the other 2, but offers the ability to launch the rockets at up to 6 to 7 kilometers range, thereby placing the aircraft outside of shorter-range air defense assets. Press space bar to continue. For this training mission, we will use a weapons range at Mud Lake, which employs assets created by the 476th Virtual Fighter Group, plus a weapons range script developed by the user Sirabob, which will allow you to gauge your shooting accuracy. To succeed, you will have to shoot all of your rockets on a target circle enclosed within a square, located on the northern side of the range. Do not confuse it with the larger circle, pointed at by a long arrow, which is a bombing target. You will be able to choose which of the rocket's 3 employment modes you want to practice. Once selected, you can't change your choice. You will have to repeat the mission if you want to practice the remaining modes. Once you have finished your attack, you can review your accuracy statistics calling up the F10 option of the communications menu. Press space bar to begin the training. We won't be repeating the basics of the Viggen's weaponry, as those were explained back on training mission M10, on ground strafing. If you have skipped that training, you may prefer to exit the current mission to perform M10 first. Press spacebar to continue with the current training mission, or press backspace if you prefer to exit. As we said on the intro, on this mission you can learn each of the 3 rocket employments modes of the Viggen. Press spacebar to learn the normal range modes, or press backspace to employ the long range mode. On the long range mode, the rockets can be fired 6 to 7 kilometers away from the target, but at such distances you can't use radar ranging, so the computer will calculate the range using triangulation, for which an accurate QFE value is needed. Because of this, the attack is made using ANF mode, against a pre-planned target waypoint, for which its QFE is known. Press spacebar to continue. Both the attack and the long-range modes require having a target waypoint on our flight plan, but the Viggen flight plans created on the DCS mission editor, like the one of this mission, have only normal waypoints. The weapons range is located at waypoint B5, and to employ these rocket attack modes, we need to convert it into a target point. The procedure for doing so is as follows. 1. Set the data selector to tact, as all tactical weapon configurations are done on this position. 2. Set the INUT switch to input, as we will be entering a value. 3. Enter the code 9 on the keypad. 4. press the waypoint button that actually corresponds to a target point. On this case, press B5. On this training, we want to exercise the real rocket attack profiles that the Viggen employed. This means flying low and use terrain to mask our approach, and then popping up prior to reaching the target, to spot it, get a firing solution, and do a quick attack on it before evading the enemy and go back to low altitude. On the real Viggen, you could define on the computer a pop-up point, and it would automatically define the correct target point. However, on DCS, you must first define the target point, which we just already did, and then create the pop-up point. A pop-up point, symbolized with U plus a digit, is defined by entering the direction and distance from the pop-up point to the target waypoint M. For this training mission we want to perform the attack flying on a northern heading, say 330 degrees, and from a distance of 12 kilometers from the target. As for a long-range rocket mode we can shoot from 6 to 7 kilometers. The procedure for creating the pop-up point is as follows. 1. Set the data selector to tact. We already have it on that position. 2. Set the INUT switch to input, which it already is. 3. On the keypad, enter the code 330120. The first 3 digits corresponds to the 330 degrees heading that we want for the attack, while the 120 corresponds to the 12.0 kilometers distance we want for the offset from the target point. In case of pressing a wrong button during the input, cycle the INUT switch in order to clear the input window. 4. Press the waypoint button that corresponds to a target point. On this case, press B5. The pop-up waypoint U5 will be created from the entered offset in relationship to the target point M5. The radar ranging is not reliable at the target distances we will be facing, so let's disable it for this sortie. The procedure is 1. Set the data selector to tact. We already have it on that position. 2. Set the INUT switch to input, which it already is. 3. On the keypad, enter the code 253. In case of pressing a wrong button during the input. 4. Press the SKU button to enter the value. Radar ranging is now disabled. 5. Set the INUT switch back to output. 6. Set the data selector back to act pos. Press spacebar to continue. Rocket pods preparation checklist. 1. Weapon selector, set to attack, to select the rockets as the active weapon. 2. Release mode. As you want to practice the rockets on their long-range mode, set this switch down to its long-range position, LA. 3. Set the HUD to its lower position, to ensure visibility of the attack symbology. 4. Set HUD mode to low altitude, by setting the Slav SI switch to FRAM. 5. Set the altitude source selector, hide CISI, to RHM. This will ensure the radar altimeter is used as the primary altitude source, which has a more accurate reading at low altitudes. 6. Set current altimeter pressure, QFE. QFE is the air pressure at the target point. It's used by the computer to calculate the distance between the aircraft and the target, when the radar is not able to measure the distance. Read the QFE of the target on the kneeboard, located on waypoint B5, M5, and set the altimeter to that air pressure. Press spacebar to continue. Good, the rocket pods are now ready to use. You have reached waypoint B4. Turn left, towards the U5 pop-up point. Fly fast and low, at 0.7 to 0.8 Mach and less than 500 meters. We are nearing the weapon's range. The rocket target is the circle enclosed within a square, on the northern side of the range. Let's review the rocket delivery profile that the Viggen employs, as once the attack begins it will all happen fast. 1. Master mode, set to ANF, attack, once you begin the pop-up climb, to an altitude of at least 500 meters AGL at normal range, or 1000 for a long-range delivery. The HUD will then display the attack symbology, with a small ring being superimposed on the target point, this being the target indicator ring, tier. 2. When at the top of the climb, throttle back to idle, then start a dive to acquire visually the target. Ideally the dive should be around 15 degrees nose down. 3. During the dive, steer the aircraft to align the reticle dot with the target, which should be near the tier. As we are not using radar ranging, no fin should be visible above the reticle dot. 4. Once the reticle dot is over the target and stable, set the trigger to unsafe by clicking on the stick safety cover. It is best if you bind a HOTAS button to this action, so that you can perform it while maneuvering the flight stick. When you unsafe the trigger, the computer will mark the target and provide more accurate ranging information. The tier should disappear. 5. Keep the reticle dot on the target. The distance line will flash 2 seconds before the firing point. 6. Wings will appear on the sides of the reticle dot, half a second before the firing point. Press and hold the weapon release trigger to fire all your rockets. On the real Viggen, it is not possible to do a partial firing. On DCS there is an unrealistic way to do single fire, but it has a bug that impairs its accuracy, so we will not use it. 7. Once you have performed your attack, pull up at 5G and, for realism's sake, evade left or right. Press spacebar to unpause the mission and put this procedure into practice. You've reached the U5 pop-up point. Climb sharply to at least 1000 meters AGL, and then turn right towards the target, to initiate your rocket attack profile. Begin the attack dive, keep the dot reticle over the target, then unsafe the. After the attack, exit the range by heading north. Deactivate the armament with this short procedure. 1. Set trigger to safe by clicking on the stick safety cover. 2. Set master mode to nav and press B6 to select the next waypoint. Good. This completes the weapon's disarm procedure. You can check your range results by calling up the communications menu. Select F10, Other, then select F1, Range. Finally, click F3, My Bombing Results. You have completed the main subject of this training mission. Press spacebar if you want to fly back and land at Tonopah, or press backspace to end the training now.